Hello, welcome to Avenue A, where we talk acting, we talk networking, and we talk the industry. I am your host, Kelsey Bentz, and welcome back to another episode. Happy Friday. Thanks for being here. So today is a little bit different. I'm so nervous. Okay, to level with you guys, I made a scheduling snafu this week. It got away from me, and I thought that I had a guest booked for this week, but it turns out that they were booked for another week. Anyway, all that being said, I was sort of scrambling to figure out what to do this week because I didn't want to leave everyone hanging. So I figured, you know what, maybe I'll go live and it'll just be me. We've never done that before. I've always had, on the 30 episodes we've had so far, 35, 36 episodes, it's always been me and a guest. So I thought it might be kind of fun and a kind of different to just go live and like be here with you guys. So, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see there's so many comments already. Thank you for tuning in. I want to say hi to everyone. Hi, Dana. Thanks for tuning in and being here. Grandma, my number one fan. Thank you for being here. I treasure you. We have Tim Sohn. What's up, Tim? Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for being here. We have Max, my sweet, sweet Max. Thanks for being here. Oh my gosh, so many people. Stefan, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And we have my mom. You guys, okay, I just want to start, I guess, by saying I'm really grateful for the community that I have built with Avenue A. Most of you probably know, since you tune in, the people who are here tune in pretty often. But I created Avenue A coming out of art school into the pandemic as a way to stay connected with my artistic peers. And like, it felt like an effort to like not be fully isolated from the people in my artistic community. And so that was the conception of it. And I kind of just ran with the idea, and it's grown so much since then. We've gone live almost every Friday since May of 2020. So we're coming up on a year almost, which is wild to think of going live. And I do everything, you know, like I do the graphic design, I get the guests to come on the show, I do all of the like marketing and promo. So it's been quite a hefty project over the last year, and it's been a cool like labor of love, I would say. Really challenging. I've learned a lot. I never considered myself to be like a technical person before. I had no skill in graphic design. I didn't have any video content out there before the pandemic started. It felt too daunting to me, let alone going live every week. It just was like, how and why? So anyway, I'm really proud of what we've built with Avenue A, and I'm just so grateful for the community and the people who tune in every week. I'm seeing more people. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for being here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I guess my idea for tonight, it's kind of unstructured and I probably won't be live for that long, but I wanted to just like have a chance to connect with you all more intimately, because usually it's an interview style show and we're not interacting so much with the viewers, with the people in the comments. I try to integrate some of the comments into the conversation, but oftentimes it ends up just being kind of the dialogue between me and the guest. But I wanted to extend an opportunity to chat with you guys if anyone has questions or wants to ask anything about the show or about acting or really anything. I kind of wanted to just take a moment tonight to do that, and I'm feeling candid, so ask your questions. Dana has one. Thanks, Dana. What have you learned about the importance of networking since day one of the show? Oh my gosh. So networking has always been this like huge and scary concept to me. And that's why I made it such a big part of this show. Because obviously I wanted to talk about acting. I wanted to stay connected with my artistic peers, but the concept of networking within the artistic industry is vital, number one, and extremely like, it feels like the concept is elusive, right? Like everyone has their own definition of what networking is. And uh, sometimes it has a negative connotation, I think. Like, oh, I'm going to this networking dinner. Or like, oh, I have to, I'm going to go to this party, but it's just for networking. Like it's not. I think I went through art school just really dreading the concept of networking and feeling like it was so disconnected and disingenuous. And I didn't like that, but I didn't really know another way, right? So I guess to come back to your question, I have learned that the importance of networking is that it's very important, right? But also, I think something that I've gained knowledge about over the course of this show specifically is that putting yourself out there and offering your I guess asking for something from someone doesn't necessarily mean that you're putting a burden on them, right? Like something that I was struggling with in the beginning of this show and still struggle with to this day, honestly, is reaching out to people to be on the show. At first, when I first began, I was like, no one's going to want to be on this. Like, it's going to be so annoying to them. That's honestly what I thought. But I was like, you know what? Like it's all part of the thing. I just have to push through that. And to my surprise and my delight, most of the artists I connected with were like, hell yeah, I'll be on this live stream with you. Like, of course, and that right there is networking, and it's so positive, right? And so I think I reframed my mindset around the concept of networking. Like, I just put myself out there, and if someone says no or they're not available, that's fine. Like I extended to them, and if they're not able or willing to come back, that's okay. That doesn't say anything or mean anything about me, right? So I think that was an important piece that I've learned and that I'm still learning, is that networking is just about putting that request for connection out into the world, or out towards someone, right? And just offering whatever you're offering, whoever you are, just offering that to them. And if they're on that same wavelength with you, then something will happen. And if not, like, that's okay. Maybe you'll connect at another time. But I think reframing that mindset has been really helpful for me in terms of networking, that it can be natural, it can be soft and easy and actually delightful. It doesn't have to be forced or disingenuous like I kind of thought that it was. Tim. Okay, so actually this is a really fun question, and this is something that I thought I was going to hate at first. But what I've grown to love about hosting my own show is that I can do whatever I want. Which honestly, the concept of that blew my mind at first, because this was the first creative endeavor, creative project that I have been a part of where it's been completely mine. When I was in school, when I was doing a lot more acting work, traditional acting work on stage, it was always like I was selected to be in a cast to fulfill someone else's vision, right? So I was working with directors and producers and, music directors and other actors, and I was really a vessel more than anything to sort of deliver someone else's vision. And of course, I brought my own artistic oeuvre to it, right? Like that was why they cast me. But more than anything, I was trained to take and see the vision of someone else and embody it. But with this, it's so different because this is my vision, and it has to be like, no one's doing this for me. So if I don't take the reins, if I don't make the decisions and take the initiative, nothing's going to happen, right? So that's the beauty and also the challenge of it. But that is my favorite part, that like I really can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want. I can have whoever I want on the show. I can brand it the way I want. I can dress the way I want. I can not dress the way I want. You know, like there's so much freedom creating your own art, and you're just having your own platform. That's such a beautiful thing, and it's been really fun to explore for me. Oh my gosh, thanks for the questions, you guys. I honestly was like, I'm going to come on and there's going to be no questions and it's just going to be awkward. But it's not. Thank you. Okay, what has been the most fun part of putting the show together? I think the most fun part has been getting to know myself and what I like creatively, honestly. And that sounds kind of weird, but it kind of relates to Tim's question that I just answered. But I really was so used to being like a neutral, clean slate as an artist, so that I could put on characters and put on costumes and become other people. And that's what I've trained like my whole life to do. And honestly, that's where I feel most comfortable, is when I can become someone else for the purpose of art and creating and performance. But something that's been really fun and also very hard about putting the show together is discovering who I am, like me as a personality, right? Like me as a character. Because I know who I am in my private life, right? Like when the camera's not on me. But the sort of taking, it's like a middle ground, right? Like I'm not a character who's someone else. Like I am Kelsey on this show, right? But it's a different Kelsey a little bit, because I'm like I'm hosting, right? It's a role that I'm taking on, but it is still me. It's not someone else. So that's been interesting to explore, like who am I as a person who performs when I'm not putting on another character. So that's been really cool to explore, and also that ties into sort of like what I like, and just even in the branding, you know, figuring out like the color of the show and the, you know, the fonts and the videos and all of that, like just becoming more in touch with myself creatively in that sense has been really awesome. Okay, Max, thanks for the question. Who are some of your personal inspirations from a professional/creative standpoint, or something else if that's not a good question? That's a great question. That is a great question. Okay, so I have a couple. Dolly Parton for me is a big one. And I honestly, growing up, I didn't know a whole lot about Dolly. I thought she was I knew she was in the country music realm, but I didn't really listen to her. I don't think my parents really listened to her that much. But as a teenager and going into my adulthood, I started listening to her more and just like seeing more interviews that she's done and stuff like that, and listening to podcasts that she's been a part of. And that woman's mindset just blows me away. I was just listening to a podcast with Brené Brown. She has a podcast called Unlocking Us, and she had Dolly Parton on as a guest. And Dolly's like in her 70s, you know, but she's just so whip smart, and she's so focused, and she's so, you can tell that like this woman has so much drive in her. Like she's built an empire, right? Like she's written all these songs, but she also talks about love. Like she just kept going back to love whenever Brené, the host, was asking her about, you know, how she goes through life and how she like stays soft even in an industry where, you know, she's like a businesswoman and she has to make all these tough decisions and deal with tough people, right? She just kept going back to this concept of love. So she is such a idol to me, because I think it's so difficult to hold your softness and keep your softness, but also be tough and driven and independent in that way. Like that dichotomy, she just embodies that, and I really that inspires me a lot. Okay, there are so many more, but I would just keep talking forever. Grandma, can you tell me how important it is to be a host/producer? I mean, I don't know how important it is. It's been really fun for me. I think, you know what? In the sense of bringing on guests and figuring out how to connect with each different person has been, I think, the most important part of this journey for me. Because everyone who comes on the show is different, right? They have a different energy, they bring a different perspective, they bring different experiences, and I want to honor all of that each time a guest comes on. So I think for me, learning how to connect with each individual guest and not just have the show be sort of like rote has been really fun. And I think that's the importance of when you are hosting a show like this. Like, I think that's the key, is like figuring out how to connect with the person who's in front of you, and just like have a conversation more than anything and learn something. Like, I always go in with the objective of learning something about my guest. Um, and that could mean a lot of things, learning about something about them that's personal or creative or, whatever. But I just go in with an open mind and an open heart. And I think that that is important. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh, thank you. I appreciate it. How has the show changed throughout the process of doing it? Hi, Danielle. Danielle's my roommate. So she's like through the wall watching this. Thanks for tuning in. How has the show changed throughout the process of doing it? I think that, well, personally, I think the branding has got a little stronger. Let me show you the the first overlay I made for this show. Oh, it cracks me up. That was the first one I made. And then, we moved on to this one. It got a little better. My skills got a little stronger. And then we moved on to this one. And this is sort of the most recent one. And then this one was made by my boyfriend, Max, who also designed the video clip at the end, which you'll see. Shout out to Max for that. But yeah, just the branding has really evolved, and sort of like the aesthetic of the show. I think I added this light too, which Dana got me for Christmas, my producer. So yeah, I've like added elements, but I think more what's the word? Like more in depth of an answer would be that my interview style has changed a bit. Like, I've settled into the role of the host. I used to get super, super nervous, and I don't know if it showed, but I felt like it showed. And it distracted me a little bit from really like connecting with the guest. I think I tried my best, but those nerves in the beginning really did, they were hard for me. And I still get nervous every time before I go on, which is sort of the beauty, because I always get nervous before live performances on stage too. And so like feeling that adrenaline is actually really comforting to me. But I've become a lot more confident in my own like interview skills. And so that's been really helpful. And I think that that's helped the show grow a lot, because I'm able to, like I was talking about before, like connect much more quickly with my guest and really get to the good stuff right away. Yeah. Let's see. Have you ever had a show where you learned something during your show from your guest and the conversation went into a totally different direction? Kind of, actually. I had a guest a couple weeks ago. Her name was Linnea, and we had an awesome conversation. I knew her. I'd met her once. I knew her like through a friend, so she's kind of a mutual friend. And so I didn't know a whole lot about her, but I knew her to be like silly and kind of like had a really dry sense of humor and really like fun person. And it was a pleasure to interview her. But she what's the word? We were talking about like being a performer during this current moment of being in the pandemic, and how that has taken a toll on us. And she started talking about how going home during the quarantine and spending time with her family and like really going back to her roots and like reconnecting with like what raised her basically was huge for her and like totally changed her perspective. And she got emotional, and like we had this beautiful moment of just like connection and I felt like I felt that, like I was like, yes, I understand what you're saying. But it was honestly, it was very beautiful. And I was so thankful that she felt comfortable enough to share that, and it was something I think that a lot of us can relate to, especially artists who are like trying to navigate through this pandemic, and like we're all at home. It's crazy. Okay. Thank you for all the questions. I'm honestly honored and blown away that people are even watching this. Thank you for being here. Hi, Sarah. If you could choose anybody in the whole world to come on your show, who would it be? Oh my God, Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep. Actually, I have two. Meryl Streep and Catherine O'Hara from Schitt's Creek. Just legends. I'm even thinking about having them on now, I'm like getting warm. And I think if I did have them on the show, it would be like the first few episodes of Avenue A where I just like could not handle the nerves. I think that that's what it would be like. But oh, Meryl Streep or Catherine O'Hara, I would just die. I would die. Hussein, my other roommate, in just the other wall as well. Thanks for being here. Did you learn anything from any of your guests, then did it in real life? Examples if the answer is yes. Oh, that's a great question, actually. Let me think about this. There have been multiple things that... There are two things, actually, that have really stuck with me, but that I haven't actually tried yet, but that have been going around in my brain, and I'll tell you what they are. The first one was from my guest Flobo Boyce, who was on a few weeks ago. And I was asking him, because he has like 5 live shows that he does. He's going live like every day. He handles everything on his own. And it's very impressive because I feel like I can barely do this one show. So I was asking him like his secrets or like his tips basically on how he stays so disciplined. And he told me that he just like makes a really concise schedule for himself. Like he dedicates a certain day to scheduling the guests, and he like blocks out hours and actually like does it really organized. And I was like, that's super smart because I just like do it whenever I have time, whenever I think about it. And it ends up sometimes like today where I found myself without a guest. So that's definitely something that I think I need to incorporate into my own like organizational structure. And the second thing is my guest CJ Holly was on, and he said, we were talking about like personal growth and like personal mindset. And he was saying that something that he does is when he journals, he has this way of journaling where he'll write himself a letter as if he was talking to himself, but like as someone else. And he says that helps give him like a perspective that's different from when you're inside your own mind, right? Like it helps you sort of like see the situation from above and like speak to yourself the way you might speak to like a good friend of yours. And I was like, oh, that's such a good idea, but I haven't tried it yet. But that's been circling around in my brain for sure. Whoa, okay, it's been 25 minutes of me just speaking. Okay, I will wrap it up before 30 minutes. Thank you for being here, everyone. Am I missing any questions? Oh yeah, Stefan has one. Do you like having solo guests, or would you like to have shows with multiple guests? So I generally tend to do just the solo guests, so it's like just a 2-person conversation. But there have been a couple shows where I've had 2 guests on at a time, and those are actually quite fun. It's a different sort of energy. We had, I think the only 2-person shows we had Amber Live and her producer Russell on. They're like big in the live streaming community. And Amber is this awesome drag queen. And so we had both of them on, and it was fun to like hear their perspectives on like the roles that they play in their live show, because they both do different things. And then we also had Matt Schick and Derek. Oh, what's Derek's last name? I forget Derek's last name, but Matt is Derek's producer. So we had them on too because they were sort of working on projects together. So that's been really fun to have multiple people on. But I would love to have like, I don't know, more? Why not? Like a three or four person show? It's definitely hard though because I have to like really delegate. Like, okay, who am I asking this question to? Like, I want everyone to like speak the same amount. So it's like it makes my brain like kind of short circuit, but it's really fun. It's very fun. LOL, Dana. Thank you so much. All right, you guys. Well, I guess I'm just gonna wrap up. Thank you for tuning in. This was actually very fun. I was super nervous. All day I was like, what am I doing? But we're here and we did it. Thanks for bringing your awesome questions. Thanks for tuning in. It's like very, very heartwarming to see like my community show up. So I promised I was going to say what's next for Avenue A. And I don't have like a super concise answer for this, but we have 3 more episodes lined up because we're coming to the close of season 2, which is wild. So season 1 had 20 episodes. Season 2 is going to have 20. This is episode 17. So we have 3 more to go. I have 3 awesome guests lined up. And then after that, I don't know. I think I'm going to like rebrand a little bit, like, but I don't know what direction I'm going to go in, but like there will be a season 3. I'm in love with this show. I'm in love with the platform. Like I don't want to abandon it at all, but I'm scheming like, okay, what's maybe a different direction Avenue A can go in. So if anyone has any ideas, feel free to reach out and chat with me about it. But yeah, that's the vibe. Like I want to keep going and just keep building the community and keep connecting with all of you. So we'll see what happens. But we have 3 more episodes until we close out season 2, which is cool. All right. Well, with that, I bid you all adieu. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye.